Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 25 of the Side Panel, or AJ Side Panel. I'm your host, AJ. Hi, everybody. I know it's been a minute, and I apologize. I suck. But because it's been a minute, now we get to talk about a lot of movies that I got to see in the past few weeks. So, what movies are those? Well, let me tell you. I'll be discussing The Intruder, The Hustle, Tolkien, John Wick 3, and Rocketman. That's right. That is a lot of movies, isn't it? I have been a busy little boy. Busy little boy is me. So, without further ado, let's get right to it, shall we? First up is The Intruder. This movie, uh, yeah, I don't know what I can say about this movie. This movie starred Dennis Quaid and what has to be his first, like, horror type movie, or at least the first one that I've seen him in. Uh, It is a film about how this successful black couple buy this home off of Dennis Quaid in Napa Valley, and upon moving in, they come to find out that Dennis Quaid kind of doesn't want to let the house go, and so they have to deal with him constantly being around and acting like the house is still his. What ensues is a bunch of creepiness, and Dennis Quaid is losing his damn mind. Now, in an attempt to be a horror film, this movie kind of takes a little bit of liberties as far as like uh, lighting and acting and set and all that. It's just very. The creepiest thing about this movie isn't what he does. What he does is kind of obvious that it's happening. You can see where the next steps are because you can see him sliding down this scale of madness, if you want to call it, or loneliness or isolationist or what have you. What is creepy about this movie is the expressions on Dennis Quaid's face. This man, like, I swear, his eyeballs would pop out. He could put them back in. They would. They were just. That was what sold the movie and made it creepy. The acting was Um, the story wasn't really all that impressive, and the plot was deliberate. Um, but the home itself was gorgeous, and it made for some really awesome scenery, and it was the kind of house, like the color, some of the scenery and some of the shots in the house were the kind that you would want to hang on your wall. You know what I mean? Like, it was just beautiful background and architecture and the land and everything about it, and it was just I, don't know, I enjoyed that much about the house. I wanted to. My wife and I tend to go on open houses during the weekend just because it gives us something to do, and I wanted to find out. It made me want to go to an open house of this house because the house itself seems very awesome. Overall, though, I don't think the movie was worth the time, and more than likely, um, I don't see it doing too well in the theater, honestly. But in the day and age that we live in, where we're having a movie studio complex, you know, like AMC or Harkins or Regal, those type of theaters now, where you're gonna get like anywhere from 14 to 25 movie screens in the theater. A movie like this can last a long time, if only just to occupy space. But with the summer blockbusters coming out, I don't see it occupying too much more space past, I'd say, the next month or two. So there you have it with that. Moving on, The Hustle. Now, The Hustle is a film starring um, Anne Hathaway and Rebel Phillips. No, Rebel. I don't remember what her name is, but she's kind of a rebel. Why don't I just go ahead and Google that for you while I've got you here? Anyway, so the movie is about two con women. Rebel Wilson, I was right. Ha ha. Take that. Um, two con women who joined together to try and uh, run cons on people out in this elaborate. Um, See, now I'm just like, I just brain farted. Uh, Casablanca area, you know, exotic resort type living. And these two women are trying to run cons and games on everybody in the resort and in this location. Uh, in the process, they decided to have a bet to see who can outcon the best or run the best con. Anyway, the movie itself is an exact remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which came out in 1988 and it starred Michael Caine and Steve Martin. Um, that in itself was a remake of a 1964 film called Bedtime Story. A lot of people my age will probably recognize Dirty Rotten Scoundrels before they recognize Bedtime Story, but if you've seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, The Hustle is exactly the same movie. They run the exact same cons, the exact same stories, the exact same outcomes, and the exact same characters, except that they're female, whereas the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels were male. Uh, Other than that, like, really, I was watching the movie and was like, oh, so this is going to happen. Oh, so this is going to happen. Oh, oh. And so in that matter, it was not fun for me. There were a couple of jokes that I laughed at, a couple of, uh, they're both kind of doing physical comedy, so both times when they were doing it, I did find myself laughing. But it was more at the fact that this was like an updated version of those stories. So the jokes were more updated, and so that's what made it funny. It wasn't the story or anything that was interesting because I'd already seen it before, and I was disappointed with that. Even the surprise ending was exactly the same, and yeah, so it took me out of it. So maybe if you, and I've said it before, Rebel Wilson can't hold her own film. Anne Hathaway in this movie did help carry that load, but Rebel Wilson was still like the butt of all the jokes, and because of that, she played the same character she always does, and I just didn't enjoy her in the movie either. So I was kind of disappointed with it. But for you people, I watched it and I suffered through it because I sacrificed for you, because that's how I am. Coming up, next I watched Tolkien. Tolkien, man, how do I describe this movie? Tolkien is the coming of age story told of J.R.R. Tolkien, the author behind uh, the Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit and the Silmarillion. It depicts a time from him growing up until he comes home from war and decides to start writing these books. I went into the movie hoping to see influences of where they got ideas from. Like, oh, this is cool. This is where it comes from. This is where that comes from. Oh, that's really cool. Blah, 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 blah. What I got instead was a heartbreaking story of camaraderie and friendship and love that had me crying at the end. I did not appreciate that, the fact that I was crying at the end of this film. It is, uh, it really delves into, uh, well, without giving too much away, the story starts with Tolkien uh, deciding to take a long journey through the trenches of during World War II on the English side in order to find his friend that he had grown up with. And on the way, this, I want to say, because he was a captain, so one of his soldiers in his unit decided to join him and help him along the way. His name just happened to be Sam. But during their journey from one trench to another, foxhole trenches, if you remember World War II, most of the wars fought in that manner. During that journey, it flashes back on his life and how he grew up in a foster home, going to school, meeting his friends, going to college, and then creating his own language, and eventually ending up in war. And so you're taken on this journey, and it's a little harsh, man, and it's heartbreaking. And I really have a newfound respect for him. Not that I didn't already, but just kind of like reminding me of why. if you're interested in seeing kind of stuff like that and um, a little bit of visuals, when he's in war, he sees a lot of Sauron and the ring wraiths and whatnot in the smoke and in the battle, and that's supposed to imply where he's getting the influences for those characters in the story. And yeah, the visuals are really great, and the story, the acting is done on par. It was really good movie, and I was surprised by it. I thought it was going to be a little cheeky, a little more fun, a little lighthearted, but it decided not to be, and it lied to me. So there you have it. Moving into the next film is John Wick 3. Look, people, you've seen John Wick 1 and 2, right? You know what you're going in to see John Wick 3. In the first 5 minutes, he's killed like 10 people. It is the ongoing story, the continuing story of John Wick, Keanu Reeves' character in from the first film, uh, going forth and trying to just fight for his life, and in doing so, like, I don't know, kill as many people as you can and survive through the next movie, basically. I had a lot of fun with this movie. There was a lot of times where I was cheering out loud and laughing maniacally because of all the just different ways he kills people and the fighting and the gun work and everything that he's doing in this movie were not only impressive but like just breathtaking. You're just watching this guy, and at the end of it, you want to have a cigarette and a Coke and relax. Like you want to go sit on the patio and catch your breath a minute, and that's what this film does. And it's shot beautifully. The story is a lot of fun. The acting and action are just, yeah, it's really awesome. So while it's still in theaters, I have see no problem in this making, a big return. But uh, just be forewarned, man. You've seen the John Wick movies. You know what you're getting into. It's no different. So it just goes further into the lore of the Continental and John Wick story. And it's awesome. Even Halle Berry, I'm not a big fan of Halle Berry as a person and sometimes as an actress. But in this movie, she's badass. Like, I had to give it up. Like, she was just just awesome. So, yeah, there you have it. John Wick 3, man. 3 thumbs up. It just continues to get more and more awesome and more violent, and I'm going to keep spending more and more money to watch it. And finally, the next film, which I literally just got home from and sat down and am taking a breather from, is Rocketman. Rocketman is the depiction of the life and times of Elton John, portrayed by Edgar Tarrington. Edgar? Did I say it right? Edgar? Egon? Mac Daddy? Anyway, the guy from Kingsman. Yes. I'm going to say it wrong until I say it wrong. Taron. That's it. Taron Egerton. Jesus, I was wrong on that. Dyslexic much? Of Taron Egerton portraying Elton John. This movie isn't what you would expect. It is not Bohemian Rhapsody. It is not like a straightforward biographical story of Elton John. It is more of a fantastical. It's a 2-hour music video, but it's not really a musical. Where a musical is just a lot of singing and a lot of the movie is played out through song. This is kind of different. This is just a storytelling movie that happens to have music in it that comes in and takes over the scene. So, in that aspect, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. Found a lot of stuff I didn't know about him. Much respect for Taron Egerton. His acting is like he's killing it, in my opinion, when it comes to his films and his roles that he's taken. I mean, aside from Kingsman, sorry, I like brain farted again. He has done a couple other films that Robin Hood he was pretty good in. It wasn't his fault that movie was bad. And Eddie the Eagle, which I thought he played. Like I didn't even realize it was him in the movie. And he's starring in the upcoming. Ooh, that's awesome. The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. My wife enjoyed him in Sing and in the new Watership Down. So this is a man who's not afraid to take the scary roles. You know, and in this film, it does not hide from. I can't think again. Thank you. What's his name? Jeez, Elton John. It doesn't hide from Elton John's homosexuality and embraces it full form, arms wide open, um, and shows how that lifestyle made him feel isolated throughout most of his life, and how it became a driving force behind everything else that he did. I didn't realize also that Elton John was a hardcore abuser of drugs and alcohol and everything else, and that he had been sober 22 years, I think, at the time this movie was made. Um, so that was also a big part of the story. Oh, sorry. But you learned that like 2 seconds into the movie. So I'm not really giving anything away. This was a sneak preview that we got to find out through Fandango. And we got to see the film, I think, a week and a half ahead of time. So for that, I am very grateful because it was. I mean, honestly, this movie comes out the same day as Godzilla, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go see Godzilla. So this movie allowed me to. This sneak preview allowed me to see the film, and not have to miss it because of Godzilla. So that was pretty awesome. But, good movie. You'll enjoy it when it comes out if you're into that type of thing. Uh, Costumes were crazy. They were crazy. As you know, Elton John's costumes can be. So they did a great job with the costumes. Taron Egerton sang all the songs. So for that, he gets a lot of respect also from me. Because they were really good. And it impressed the hell out of me the way he did it. So, great job, Taron. Sorry, my throat dried up. So that about wraps it up. Quickly, two things I wanted to touch upon before going. The new season of Lucifer came out on Netflix. I binged it all in one day. It was very easy to watch and very fun to watch. Three things I had hoped for in seeing it on Netflix was that nudity, cursing, and gratuitous violence, because he is the devil. But I was reminded that they didn't want to change it that much because what it was the fans that brought the TV series back for another season. And to change the show from what the fans liked about it would be to put it in danger again. So the showrunners, they did get a little bit risky, but they didn't go over the top like I would have liked to have seen. But what they did show me and the storyline that they did have throughout the season was a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of Lucifer, head over to Netflix and watch the season 4. It's a lot of fun. And lastly, I want to take a minute to acknowledge and say goodbye to Big Bang Theory. The final episode of the show aired this past week. I've spent 10 years watching the show. I've enjoyed every episode. I understand that that a lot of people walked away from the show because at some point it stopped being a show about a bunch of nerds doing nerdy stuff and became the Sheldon Show. And because of that, it lost a lot of its fanfare and respect that a lot of people had. But I've always had been a fan, even when it switched over. I still watched it because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the little references and everything, and I even got to see live taping of it twice. I enjoyed every episode, and I was really sad to see it go. Even shed a little bit of a tear during the final episode. I thought they did a good job wrapping it up and continuing that wrap up over onto the show Young Sheldon for their season finale. So, and it was one of those shows where my wife also enjoyed, so it was fun for us to share in the joke when we got together, because we both watched it at different times, and So when we did like, did you watch it last night? Yeah, I watched it last night. Oh my god, it was so funny. I know you kept waking me up from laughing. You know, it was that kind of show, and because of that, it allowed me to form memories with my wife, and that I will always be grateful for. So, goodbye, Big Bang Theory. We will miss you. Hopefully, you will live on in Young Sheldon, and maybe other side projects that may come out. We shall see. Friends begat Joey, right? Yeah. Bet you forgot about that. As usual, thank you guys for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all over the world and all of social media. Please click on the Ko-Fi link. Buy me an iced tea. Help support the show. Every little bit helps. Help me see movies so that I can review them for you. And with that, I'll go ahead and say goodbye. Until next time, guys. Something cheesy like, see you at the movies. Or see you on the side. With my french fries. French fries.